when the coronavirus pandemic hit, recruitment volumes pretty much stalled and recruitment decreased, as you'd expect. Once businesses understood the impact it would have on their business from an economic point of view, etc., then the key roles that we've seen that businesses still carried on to recruit were critical hires, niche roles that they needed for the business that they knew that would add value. In terms of other ongoing recruitment, in terms of business as usual, pretty much put on hold until they understood a bit more about the impact it would have further down the line. In terms of as we've gone through the year, looking at the second half of the year, volumes have picked up, and actually looking into the end of Q3, start of Q4, recruitment volumes were very buoyant. And that's down to supply chain plays such a critical part in the businesses surviving and actually also keeping a competitive edge in the current climate. Supply chain is so important, and it's never been as interesting as it is today, and businesses recognise the importance of it because it's been highlighted with the current pandemic, whether you're holding far too much inventory or whether you're not holding enough to cope with demand. In terms of the recruitment market, it's picking up, which is good. I think there's a need for good supply chain and procurement people in general, and I think that will carry on into 2021. In terms of looking at trends in 2021, look, there's a big drive for technology and digitalisation within supply chain. So people with that skill set, there's going to be a need to hire them and bring them in, because that businesses are looking to the future and where that can really add value. In terms of agility, businesses have been able to who are agile across their whole supply chain are being able to adapt a lot faster than businesses don't in the current climate. Looking ahead, being agile is so important for businesses to survive going forward, and that's across the whole supply chain. And that's not just looking at your own business, that is looking at your supply chain, your whole supply base, and going right back to your supply base, and also looking at the customers to ensure that you've got good agility across your supply chain so you can adapt and be flexible. Sustainability as well, in terms of businesses who are investing in sustainability moving forward have looking at study, they have grown a lot faster than businesses that don't. There's a big drive on customers that recognise the importance of sustainability in the products that they buy, and the businesses that have invested in sustainability is something that has been important in terms of growth strategy as well for them organisations. So I'd say that there's going to be a big need for that going forward. In terms of the key skill sets that businesses want, look, there's going to be a big drive for people that need good supply chain experience. If you're looking at a lot of the recruitment that we're doing currently, people across procurement with supplier management experience, with the ability to engage and being able to mitigate risk across the supply base is so important. So there's a need for people with that type of background. Inventory management is so important, whether that means you as a business are outperforming due to the COVID impact has actually had a positive impact from a business perspective, then the ability to manage your inventory and cope with demand is so important. Looking at businesses who have found it really tough in the current pandemic, managing working capital is so important to make sure you can survive, and looking at your supply base and making sure that you are working together in collaboration to get through this time. We have seen an upturn actually within the market. We're starting to get some volume back again, so there's a bit more positivity in the market with some organisations who have seen a downturn due to COVID. The advice to employers when they're looking to recruit in 2021, advice is slick recruitment process. It's so important to get candidates bought in, and looking at how you retain staff is making sure you've got a really good onboarding process. If you're trying to hire, if you're in a market which is doing really well and you're trying to attract somebody, what I would say that you have to make sure you've got a sell. If you put people through recruitment processes, making sure that you give them the opportunity to understand about the business, sell the business to them, make sure the recruitment process is slick, the timelines are outlined to candidates as they go through the process, so at least it looks like it's a smooth process to them. And also, once you secure the candidate, it makes you've got a really good onboarding process. I think that's one of the big messages we're telling clients at the minute, because some businesses have lost candidates and they recognise that their onboarding process hasn't been good enough due to not being able to, people joining, not being able to go and meet people face to face given the current climate, people working remotely, not feeling as part of the team because they've not met their peers. I would tell people, make sure you make them feel part of the team whatever way you can. Make sure you give them visibility of the people they need to engage with within the business, and make sure you set up the times to make sure you've got meetings in their diary to do a Teams call or a Zoom call, whatever the business is using, etc., to make sure that they are feeling part of the team. Looking at some of the key markets, e-commerce, chemicals, pharmaceutical businesses, FMCG businesses, which have seen an increase in demand over the last number of months and have not been impacted as much. To acquire good talent, your competitors will also want to hold on to candidates, so I'd see an increase in them markets. Some traditional manufacturing markets where people become available and on the market, some of the industries, salaries might remain flat. Niche roles, hard to fill roles, etc., you find that actually to get them types of candidates you're going to have to increase the salary to get them, and due there is generally a lack of good talent across the supply chain, is that I'd still see the need that you're going to have to pay the right level of salary to get people on board.